Hi, I'm Andrew from a charity called Noah's Ark based in Halifax, West Yorkshire. Thank you for taking the time to join us for Debt Awareness Week. Joining me here today at Noah's Ark Centre is a client of ours, Ben. How you doing, Ben?
I'm good, Andrew. Yourself?
I'm pretty fair, thank you. It's really important to hear from people that we've helped about the impact of debt and how that's impacted their lives. Can I ask you, Ben, would you like to share us a little bit about your story, what you were doing before you came to Noah's Ark?
I used to work on roads as a tarmacker. Worked on roads doing like utilities, so your gas, your electric, and we used to do tarmacking. And we were on a good wage. I mean, you can pull in anything from £1,000 a week to £1,500 a week. I had no real worries in life at all at that time, and a situation occurred in 2017 where I lost my leg due to a blood clot. Everything, my life changed within 2 months. I had all this money it's not like we had loads in the bank. We lived a nice life. My kids lived a nice life. And within 2 months, it just took away from me with that. And then I got declared fit to work 2 weeks after I had my leg off. I had an house that I'd moved into that was £900 a month in rent, because I had this good, well-paid job, and I only moved in this house a month before I lost my leg.
Oh wow! Right.
So then we'd moved in. I had an operation, lost my leg, and then it was all of a sudden going from having all that money to having nothing. I just racked up debts. Debts came, and before I knew it, within 2 years, £28,000 worth of debt, and burying my head in the sand. I went from just being a confident guy that was going to work all the time to someone that couldn't cope with what had happened, and the financial burden and everything else on top of what was happening to me. It just weren't a nice time.
I mean, the pandemic's not helped, because I know your wife Laura hasn't been able to work through the pandemic.
She hasn't, no.
So
yeah, 12 months off. So was her wages down anyway. But I mean, even before that, we were struggling anyway. Like I say, I think a lot of people with debt bury their head in the sand, and I was guilty of that. Without a doubt, it seemed easier to them letters that were coming through. It seemed easier to throw them in the bin than it did face up to them.
Yeah. Wow. Trust me, you're not alone in that one. That's a common thing I see every single day, is the people who
bury their
can't face opening the mail.
I think it's scary. It's a scary thing. Like you say, it's scary, isn't it?
So how did it impact your life, and how did it make you feel then, Ben?
It impacts it massively, doesn't it? It's not like I've got a wife and I've got kids, and my wife's a bit of a worrier. And it's, you're scared of, they knock on your door, you've got bailiffs knocking on your door every day, you've got letters coming through post, I weren't sleeping right, or arguing with the wife. It just causes you stress, it brings a lot of stress.
So do you feel that it impacted significantly negatively on your mental health?
Oh, massively negatively. Obviously I had a bit of problems anyway with my leg, but a lot of it's, I didn't realise at the time that a lot of it were coming from certain different areas of my life, not just necessarily to do with my leg, you know what I mean? That itself, I mean, like when you've got people round and you're wondering who's pulling up on your drive, and is it going to be a bailiff, And
have you had bailiffs coming to
your property? I've had loads of bailiffs. I'd have one a week coming to my house, and then you've letters every day, your phone calls, you're not answering your phone. I'm locking my door just in case they turn up, and I'm living life on an edge, really. It doesn't, you see, the thing is with these sort of bailiffs as well, they tell you to ring up and we'll sort you a pay plan out. Now, I've rang up before to sort a pay plan out. It's like, right, before we sort a pay plan out, we'd like a £500 payment off you. Well, if I could do that, I'd pay my debt off in the first place. And then they come into your house, and it's like every time they come to your house, they're adding £200 on because they've been and visited. I don't understand how that's going to help me get out of debt. All you're doing is making me more and more.
Did you find the process very stressful then?
Yeah, massively stressful, and I think it needs looking at as well. I'd find them bullies. They've been at my house when my wife's there and I'm not there, and they bully her. They don't get away. I'll kick them off drive and everything else. But I don't. They just shouldn't. I don't think they should do it. They're putting so much pressure on people nowadays when they're already under pressure because they're in debt. It's not like I sit at home and I'm like, I'm glad I'm in debt and I'm laughing about it. But these coming to your house and adding that pressure is, you can see why people end their lives over certain stuff. And, luckily that didn't come to it with me, but I can understand it, and I can see how it happens quite easily with the wrong companies. And although it's debt, I think there's a stigma involved with being in debt as well. It's like I was slightly embarrassed. And it's an hard thing to admit. Sometimes I think it's hard to admit that you've got in debt.
So what help did Noah's Ark provide for you then?
What help haven't they provided? Look, I made the phone call to you. You went through everything for me and told me my best bet was to go bankrupt. And I think, again, I've spoke about this with you, there's a bit of a stigma comes with being bankrupt and stuff like that. But when I'd spoken to you and you've done what you've done, it was just like the weight of the world, it just got lifted. I felt so much taller. I felt like I could breathe again. The life that I've got now with Laura and my kids, it's stress-free.
So do you think we made a positive difference to your life?
You made a massive difference in my life. Like you know, when I come down here and I was telling you about how much stress it is, I weren't sleeping, you're worried, like I say, I was constantly worried about who were coming to house, when they were coming to house.
But did the word bankruptcy then, when I initially said that to you, was it some
Scary.
fear? Were you scared of it?
Yeah, I think it is. I think, I don't know if it's just a misconception of what it's about, really.
You've been through the process, though. Would you say that you were right to think it was scary?
I wish I'd have done this years ago. I should have probably done it years ago. But then again, like you say, with mental health, you don't address everything that's going on in your life, do you? So it's like I would try to sort my head out and debts, and it would just all too much. And ever since I've been down here, I've been able to focus on other stuff now. So my mental health's getting better. Stuff that I've got going on in my personal life, and the stuff that I'm doing, I can concentrate on them, like fully concentrate.
What's your family life like, do you think, now? Do you think it's improved with your children, and relationship with them, and your relationship with your wife? Or?
Well, yeah, I mean, like I say, Laura's a worrier. I'm one of these.
Laura's your wife, by the way.
Yeah, Laura's my wife. Yeah. So she's for the fact of where she'd worry and say these are going to come, and I'm like, well, they can't take what we haven't got.
Yeah.
Where I had that sort of approach to it, Laura would be more, and then we'd be arguing.
Yeah.
So then the kids would see it, and it's a massive stress, mate.
I mean, interestingly, earlier, Laura shared a story with me about your wedding day.
Yep.
That she was getting dressed at your house with the bridesmaids.
Yep.
And she was dreading
someone turning up at
knock on the door
that morning before she went to a wedding. Especially while people, this is again about the embarrassment side of it. You've sorted it out, and I've not really spoke about it. But I don't know why I haven't. It was just one of them things. But I'm not embarrassed. My life is so much better now. It's so much better since I've got involved with you, and you've given us a new lease of life.
How do you feel about the future then? Are you optimistic?
Very optimistic. I've like you say, I've got no stresses. The stuff that I'm trying to do. I'm trying to put stuff on to help amputees, and I don't think I could fully focus on it because of everything else going on in my life. And that's just it's just freed my mind up, and I can concentrate on where I'm going now and what I want to do. Which I probably haven't had for 4 or 5 years because of the stress of debt.
How do you sleep there? I mean, before, were you sleeping badly, or?
Do you call it sleep? I was getting about 3 or 4 hours a night.
Right.
And like you say, again, that'll be through letters getting sent to my house, through phone calls that I was avoiding.
I mean, it's a common thing we hear from people that even following the first time we speak to somebody, they often report they slept better that night, even though we've not met them.
No,
just by talking.
Just the fact that they've spoken to and admitted that they've got a problem.
Yeah. So do you think you're sleeping a bit better now? Then,
yeah. I'm getting a good solid 7 hours, which I can't remember last time I had that. So yeah.
If there's one piece of advice you'd give to somebody in your situation before, what would it be?
Don't bury your head in the sand. I mean, I know it's hard, and especially if you're struggling with mental health, which I think a lot of people that struggle with mental health probably will be struggling with debt somewhere. Because I think while you're struggling with that, you haven't got your mind in a certain place to be doing other stuff. Just not bury your head. There's places like this. This place has been a godsend. And just to pick up the phone, contact him. I mean, you've done it for us.
But I know you said that you were embarrassed, and you were probably fearful, and you didn't know what your choices were.
Yeah.
I mean, so would you advise people not to be embarrassed? Not to be ashamed, not to be scared.
I think it's, I think you should be more embarrassed and more ashamed of the fact that you're not sorting it out.
Yeah.
And I know that's hard at time when you're thinking about all this debt and everything else, but there's no embarrassment in admitting that you've got a problem. Same with mental, it's just exactly the same as mental health. If you talk about it, it gets better and you can resolve stuff. If you keep it to yourself and don't tell anyone, it's never going to get resolved.
Did you try and get help from any other organisation before you came here, or?
No. Like I say, I'd not. Again, with me handling stuff from what I'd been through on my leg, my mind wasn't in really getting this debt sorted. It was trying to get through what I was going through. And it wasn't until I spoke to Beth, and Beth mentioned you, and I rang you up, and it was easy. It was an easy transition when I come up here. I didn't find it hard talking to you. I didn't find it hard telling you about any of my problems.
So you don't think that we put any barriers in the way of you accessing our support, that we made it simple as we could for you, didn't we?
100%, yeah. I don't think there is any barriers. I think the only barriers was what I'd built myself. I don't think you put any barriers up. I think personally, for people that are in debt, they bring their own barriers up and not want to talk about the situation that they're in.
I mean, some other organisations offering advice don't do it face to face. Their model is to do it over the phone. Do you think you could have dealt with your problems over the phone, or do you think that actually working with someone face to face was definitely something that was...
Face to face is definitely better. I got my story across to you in a way that you'd probably wouldn't have seen on a phone, and I think by talking to you and realising who you were and the kind of person you were and that you did actually want to help us, I don't think I'd have got that. I wouldn't have got that over the phone.
Yeah.
Obviously sitting across from you on your desk and you wanted to help, and not only that, you understood. I mean, you've done it for a lot of people, so when you come here, you understand everybody's situations when they walk through that door, which is a big thing as well, I think, to have someone to understand what you're going through.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah. I mean, our model it is face to face, and even through the pandemic, we've managed to work with people face to face.
Yeah, well, that's when I came during this, so
because that's how we prefer it, and lots of the people that we work with, their lives are a bit chaotic. They have often lost their way, and they lose track of. Because I remember working with you, Ben, and your wife Laura. Your finances were a bit of a mess, and it was a little bit hard for me at times to work out exactly who owed money.
And you were right in what you were saying. It's like we were in debt, but I was still smoking, and I had stuff that we were paying for Sky, and we were paying for stuff like that. And it's not until you point all that stuff out where you think, hang on a minute, we can cut back on certain things. And I've shown you today, I'm on my vape.
No, I've seen the vape today. But that's part of our process here, is to try and educate people a little bit about some of the choices they're making about their spending. And you're right, Sky and cigarettes, but I'm chuffed actually that you've gone down the route of a vape rather than cigarettes, because that is one of my...
Well, that's £10 a day better off. My Sky were like 140 quid a month, and it's not... Even when you're in debt, it's like you don't even look at them things as if they're freeing them up. They seem like a luxury, don't they? Or something that you've got to have because everybody's had them. But like I've gone and got a Fire Stick now, and that's £10. That cost me £10 a month rather than the £140 I'm paying for Sky. And my fags that I'm saving money on.
Yeah. So at the moment, do you feel like you're able to balance your budget every month? You're not...
It's well balanced. It's well balanced now. Like I say, I had, obviously, because of what's happened to me, I was on Universal Credit. You went through that, and they were probably taking 250 quid a month out of my Universal Credit, which wasn't helping the situation that we're in. And it's like now, so we're so much better off. See, the thing is with us and all, it's like, because we've got it all under control now as well, the money that I've actually saved on my Universal Credit that I was losing anyway, that now is just paying everything off in a nice steady way. So I'm not building no more debt up. Everything's getting paid by the money that I saved, if that makes sense. Yeah.
I mean, overall, I would hope you're going to say that you're happier now than before you met me.
100%. You can see that. You can see that in my face anyway. I don't understand how. I don't think you can. Once your debt's written off, or you've got a handle on your debt, I don't see how you can't be happier in life. I just think it's a massive weight on your shoulders being in debt, massively.
Well, thanks, Ben.
No problem.
Thanks for being so honest about your finances and your debt problems.
Yeah, always.
I sincerely hope that the future is bright for you. And we really appreciate the time you've taken today.
No problem, Angel. Thank you.